came down to the fact that, you know, I had a one name set up where I was selling stuff and I was making a little bit of money off it. Then I had another name set up where it was just Melbourne based, sort of underground house techno, dark house music, and that was more just for the love of it. But then it just got to the stage where it was just turned out to be all for the love of it. And then once you start doing it for the love of it, you know,
it doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter what.
I mean, that's the thing before, like with the way that the music scene does work. It's great that, and you would think that ideally, the more music you put out there, the better, because you get to share what it is that you produce,
right.
because you love it with as many people as possible, no matter what form or whatever it is that they enjoy. You know, that should be ideally how it is. But
you would hope a DJ would get your song if you made a song and he would play it and someone asks you, what's that song? And don't get me wrong, this happened quite a lot in my brief stint of making music and giving it to DJs. But the vast majority of the time, people were playing it and going, well, that's not your music. You know what I mean? That they would not give the credit for the original producer. They'd just call it their own and say that they found some really good music.
So of course, that's frustrating.
But it's all about the DJ in particular staying at the top of the scene, because they're making money in a very lucrative business where they will get knocked off if they're, you know, it's a very hush scene. It's sort of like you don't speak about the bad things you do, but you just make sure that you stay at the top and you keep the best music and you make sure that you can continue making money.
But I reckon that would happen even if without the money incentive though with DJs.
Well, I think it would, but it's there's only so much credit you can get. There's only so much street cred you can get from having a good song. You know, if you've cut up a song and you use it for your own, you can make a lot of money and get street cred. You know what I mean? If that's so what you wish.
Yeah.
You know, but look, you know, in no way am I saying that happens everywhere that's doing everything. I wouldn't know. All I know is that from the experience of what I've seen the industry to be, not mentioning any names or mentioning anything, but the way the system works is and the reason why particular promotion companies hire the same DJs, they might not even be the best, they might not be that good, is because it's all this dick-sucking routine. I want to stay, I want to make money and I want to make this $200 from playing this 3-hour gig at this place, and I'm going to get hired and I'm going to do whatever I can to get hired.
But the shame of it is, I reckon, that there is so much crap music out there because people aren't making it because they like making the music and they have, you know, sat down, used their unique creative insight to produce a piece of music which they love, and have then gone, you know what, I love this music, I'm going to put it out there. That's not how things are being made most of the time. And the music that is being made like that, I don't think must be so much of it out there that it's beautiful, unique music that's not being able to be shared. And I think that's a really sad thing about the industry, is everything's being done for money. You know, I want to see. It's the same with DJing as well. I don't want to hear a song that a producer has made if they don't love it themselves. Like, I want them to make it in their own way for their own reason and love it, and then let me listen to it. If I like it, I'll let you know. If I don't like it, I won't follow you.
I mean,
I want nothing else. I don't want to have to listen to the radio purely because they've got more money. The people who are putting their music on, they have more money to do it, and so I'm being bombarded with music that isn't really pure. It's just, you know, financially backed, and that's to me not the best way to allow people to choose what music they like as well. You know, I think that a lot of people don't get the chance to fully really actually have a think about what music it is that they like. They listen to what's on the radio because it's easy and it's catchy, and you know what, that's fine, but I think they're missing out on a really big part of what music can do for you as a person and how really deep it can go when you really find music that really, really rings true to you. Then you find a lot of joy out of listening to that sort of stuff.
Well, what is really scary today is this phenomenon of these young kids, and I can talk because I've worked a bit in a big club in Melbourne called Track, and And the phenomenon of these fucking green thumb DJs getting up and they don't listen to the set, or they don't care what's happened in the set before them or after them. They might be only playing for an hour, but there will be a Calvin Harris or some big fucking, whatever, Rihanna song or this or that get played 5 times a night. And these kids are actually, they're 18, 19 years old, and probably 17 in a lot of cases, but 18, 19 years old, and they're actually drawn into this clubbing experience where it's regular for them to hear the top 10 songs of fucking whatever, or dance songs of the world 5 or 6 times a night. You hear like 3 or 4 songs literally 5 times a night, and that to me is just, there is so much good music out there.
It's rude that
and it is unacceptable. And I can draw that into another point of where you got these big DJs that go around Melbourne, like some of the biggest, whatever, you can call them underground, but they play at sort of a lot of the biggest sort of later night venues, sort of like shut at 7 a.m, 8 a.m. And they play, and because of their name, because everyone knows them, and they probably used to be very good back in the day, you know what I mean? That's why they've gotten so big. They're very technically sound with their DJ mixing skills and all the rest of it. And they've probably just got a bit fed up with the whole fact that, it's their job to find the best, unique, most concise set that they can find, and then show it to the public. Now they just come, with a set of CDs, and they just put random stuff on, and they know what they're doing. They can mix it in. Some of them don't even fucking bother mixing too much anymore. From what I see, they'll just mix for 20, 30 seconds and just go, well, fuck it, I'm shit, so listen and shut up, But like the thing is that if you're a DJ in the scene, from what I see, from what it used to be before, and I'll go into more about the actual hardware of the mixing side of things soon, but from the way it used to be before there was a sync button, before when you had to actually turn you had to beat match your own music. So you have to pick a good song, and you don't just pick a song that sounds that you think the crowd wants to hear. It has to be a unique song that has got all the elements in it for you to be able to give the crowd the best experience in the aspect that you want to do. And you could be playing trance, progressive house, deep house, this or that, or whatever the fuck, or a combination of two, but you have to play that best song at that one time. It's going to give the crowd the best experience, So that's the first point where DJs completely fuck up.
Well, that's and I think that is the main aspect of what makes a good DJ nowadays. Now that technology has come into it and removed the actual technical skill behind it in terms of beat matching and all that sort of stuff, now it's all about having an intimate knowledge of the music and having intimate knowledge of your style and the stuff that you want to, that you believe is good music, and then having that skill to read the dance floor, read people, read the mood, and pay attention to that and know exactly what to play and when.
But you have to, but for you to be able to do that in some way or another, you have to be able to sort of, you have to think of each set as a unique entity, unique experience, and you've got to pre-plan that set, sort of, and I'm not saying a lot of DJs don't, a lot of DJs probably do, but a lot of those DJs are probably the new up-and-coming guys that just love the music to death. You know what I mean? And I think the scene gets crumbled a bit. The scene crumbles around the edges a bit. And I know me and Tess both know from living this music scene for a good 3 or 4 years in Melbourne and all the most well-known clubs, and even me working in a few of them, the scene has crumbled around the edges quite significantly from DJs giving up and even subconsciously giving up on what they're there for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are not giving it 100%, and they just go, well, I'm making my paycheck, I'm going to make it, and you know what? You're going to like the music that I think that, or sort of like, because or that I think that you want, and like,
it's the cocky power that they think that they've got now because they understand how the commercial pop music thing works. People just like what they hear if you play it a few fucking times and it's catchy. It's like they'll like what you play them because you're famous. And it's like such a cop-out for them actually having to be good at their job. That's
true. That's one big point. I'm thinking of the other point too. It's the underground scene where they don't play pop commercial music. They play like alternative tracks that are so alternative that their concept of what they think that they're playing is unique is so shit. It's so, like...
What do you mean?
The last few times we've gone to Revolver, my point exactly... The concept from reasonably big DJs who were playing everywhere in all the biggest clubs around Melbourne, you know, and they're playing music that they think is good, and the crowd's not getting involved. No one likes.
I'm still unsure of what was going on there though. Because
I'm fucking sure.
Are you sure? Because I hope so. It was the music to me was so bad. I don't think anyone with any musical understanding could like it.
I'm gonna have some respect for the guy who was playing on that night.
I've heard them before and they've been amazing. So I know that
you can look at the lineup pretty much any week and pick one of them, and it's always going to turn out that way on a busy night.
But I'm not being like a critical bitch about it. I'm pretty alright with most music.
Exactly.
This was bad.
It was bad.
It was unpleasant to the ears.
It's unpleasant to the ears.
That's yeah.
I know. There was a couple of songs there where someone walked up to me and said it once, and I said it another time. I said that would be in the top 3 songs. If someone showed them to me in my spare time at home, I would say should never be played to the public. Ever. Ever. Like, you know, and that's saying a lot. I'm not over-exaggerating. I'm not doing anything.
It was pretty bad
there was actually, the crowd was packed, so wanting to get into it.
Yeah.
But they just thought, this is the way we're
didn't they? Everyone just kept trying so
hard. I've heard
hard
that at Circus. I've heard that nearly at every club. And do you know what? They're always the most experienced DJs that do it. You know what I mean? And
so what is your theory? You think?
Well, they go down this alternative line where they think, I think I know I'm going to go and give the public this sort of view that I think, this sort of audio view that I think is going to be unique and special, but it just turns out to be fucked. And you know, and it comes. Do you know what it comes from? It comes from them playing too many gigs.
Yeah.
It comes from them playing and getting acknowledgement when they don't deserve it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Someone just comes up and shakes. As so many people come up and shake their hands and go, "You're actually fucking awesome. You're a legend." When they haven't even played a good set, they don't, because there's this big taboo in the whole industry. You can't talk bad really about too many people because it's an enclosed net. And then if you talk bad about someone, then they'll be like, oh, they'll hear about it and they'll go, well, that guy's a fuckwit. He doesn't fucking like what I do. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, oh, you're good. Yeah, he's really good. He's really good. He's really good. So like, I fucking walk around and I go, look, some of the best sets I've ever heard. No, hands down, the best sets I've ever heard have come from, well, one Revolver,
Boogs
but
at
two
Revolver.
Boogs at Revolver, T-Reckon Revolver.
Yeah. Carl Cox.
I've heard some awesome shit from Luke McD, Silver Six, but also, without going into too much depth, some of those names are some of the worst music I've ever heard in my life too. And that just comes from, they're just playing too much. They don't have to earn their right to give to the public anymore. You know what I mean? You get these little up and coming guys come up, and I know. Look, you got to make a living. You got to make your money, and I'm not going to offer any other suggestion to overcome this point. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you how it is, and then we can go on from there. I'm just saying, you got to know that you got a big responsibility. You got this society that lives in this Monday to Friday routine, and they get this one chance to go out in 7 days, and they go out and they expect results. I've just spent fucking $200 on gear.
Or $20 to get into
I'm gonna feel like shit on Monday and Tuesday. Could just spend $20 to get a revolver. Sometimes more in other places. I want fucking results. I want good music. I want good times. You're playing bad music. That's a fucking biggest downgrade. Like, you know, I go to a particular venue because I like the people in the venue, okay? So that's one thing that's usually always going to work out all right, okay? And then the music shit, so that's fucked. The venue's the only constant. The music's the only variable. You know, the drugs and the alcohol